Welcome to International English Language Testing System Ielts Speaking Test. Test date 15 November 2022. Test Center British Language Club and Ielts Center Kazla Motihar Rajshahi. Examiner is Professor Int'l. Candidate is Mushfiqur Rahman Shubo. Let's get started. Please tell me your full name, your candidate's ID, and let me see your passport.
My name is Mushfiqur Rahman. The spelling Mushfiqur Mushfiqur and my surname Rahman is Rahman. My student ID is 01715 and here is my passport.
Okay. Where are you coming from and where do you live?
I am coming from my home. I actually live in Kazla, Motihar, Rajshahi. That is my home. Actually, my hometown is in Shirazganj, but for a very long time, my parents started to live in the city, coming from village. And after I am born, they buy a house in this city, and we started living in the house. From that date till now, we still live in that house, and now that house is built up to 4 stories building, 5 stories building, and we live in the 2nd stories. I came here from my home after finishing my lunch in the at noon.
Tell about your educational background and why are you taking IELTS test?
As my educational background counts, I finished my SSC examination from Rajshahi University School in 2014 and I got a golden GPA 5. In 2016, I completed my HSC examination from New Government Degree College with a CGPA of GPA 5. And after completing my HSC, I admitted to Rajshahi University and I studied international relations at Rajshahi University. After 4 years, I completed my honors on international relations in 2022. I am taking IELTS because I want to further continue my education, and for further continue my education I need to go abroad for higher studies, and to go abroad I need to have a minimum score on IELTS. So I am taking IELTS score so that I can apply for going abroad.
Tell about a favorite book you studied during your childhood.
During my childhood, I studied many books because I love to read storybooks the most. But there is one particular book that I can't even forget till today. That book is written by Dr. Rajshahi Iqbal, and that is actually a book for children who love science the most, because it's type of science fiction types book, and there are various stories in that book that makes a create a mystery that is still unsolved. So when I started reading that book, I am deeply attached with the plot, with the story of that book. But the more I read that book, the more it gets mysterious and mysterious until the end. That is still a question about what happened, like what actually happened.
Describe a book you have read and enjoyed.
I actually read many books. Some of them are storybooks and some of them are fictions. Among the books I enjoyed most, there is a fiction called Three Detectives. In that book, there are 3 people. They try to solve mystery. When I read that book, I started reading from the first chapter to the last, and it gets mysterious and mysterious. When I first started reading that book, I feel that the 3 people of that book have different types of qualifications for being detective. The first detective, he has a very keen sense for observing people, because whenever he sees a person, he can observe even that person's nails, even what the kinds of dress they are wearing. So just like him, the other 2 people also have their unique abilities to be detective, and that makes the book much more interesting. So I enjoyed that book very much.
How often do you watch TV programs about historical books or program?
I often watch various TV programs on history because I love the fact that to learn from our history. I love the fact that if I watch various TV shows on history, then we can learn about our ancestors, and not only our ancestors, and also about our own culture. That is not, we can see that kind of culture nowadays. That culture is gone missing. We can learn of those from our history books and our TV programs. Recently I watched a TV program called the Architecture of Buddha. In that program, that is shown that when in the Second World War, the Taliban attacked a city in Afghanistan and destroyed various Buddha monuments, and now the government has taken initiatives to uncover those Buddha monuments from the underground, and that is a very interesting program.
Okay, now I'm going to start part 2. In this part, you'll be given a cue card. You'll have 1 minute for thinking and noting, and you'll have to speak 2 minutes on the topic, and here is your cue card.
Okay, sir.
Please start.
Now I want to describe the neighborhood that I lived in when I was a child. The neighborhood I lived in is actually a small neighborhood. In that small neighborhood, most of the people there live in are teachers, such as school teachers and university teachers. There are storied building on the both side of a road, and it consists of about 50 or 60 buildings. In that neighborhood, I used to learn cycling a lot from child to till now. When I learned how to drive a cycle, I often played on that neighborhood with many of my friends on cycle. If I talk about the nature of people in my neighborhood, they are very much helpful. If even say an incident happened in any house, then other people of other houses will come instantly to help the neighbors. Especially I can talk about the accident that happened a few years ago. There is a house 2 or 3 buildings far away from my home, and accidentally there is a fire in that house because the worker who is cooking in the kitchen left the gas on, and it caught fire in that house. Instantly when people saw smoke in my neighborhood, they called each other shouting by their names and trying to put up the fire, but the fire burns very fast, so fast that they can't have enough time to put out the fire. So they called the fire brigade, and when the fire brigade came, the local people such as the neighbors of that house also helped the fire people to put out the fire and save the people's lives. So from this incident we can see that the people of my hometown, of my neighborhood, is so much helpful. And lastly, I want to talk about how peaceful my neighborhood is. There are many neighborhoods beside my neighborhood that I know of that are not much peaceful like mine, because sometimes I can hear about various hijacking accidents about stolen goods, and also about murder and rape cases. But if I talk about my neighborhood, it's so much peaceful that people can walk freely even in the midnight and don't have any accidents. Not only that, if I talk about how people help each other and their peaceful nature, then I have to talk about even someone is injured or accidentally not feeling well, people will know each other or not, they will call the hospital and call for an ambulance to help the poor, help the people who are not in good health. If I have a chance in the future, I will like to live in that neighborhood again, because from the neighborhood I can feel the peacefulness that I can never feel any other place. So it is very much important for me to back to my neighborhood and live in that place in the future.
Okay, do you think that it is very necessary to have favorable neighborhood for living a very peaceful life in society?
Yes, obviously. I think it is very much necessary to have a neighborhood that you like, because if you don't like the neighborhood, that means you don't even like the structure and the people of your neighborhood. And if you don't like the people and the structure, then every day it's like a burden on you. Just like the neighborhood I used to live sometimes ago, that is a neighborhood where peoples are very conservative, they don't talk to each other. So if something happens to someone, there will be no one to care about him. Even an accident happens that one person is murdered in that neighborhood and it is found 3 days after that he is murdered. So we can see that how much careless that the people of that neighborhood is. So from this I want to say that if I want to live peacefully, I want to live in a neighborhood that I should have liked the people, I should have liked the structure. Even the structure affects the people's mood very badly, because the neighborhood, if there is no
How can we improve relationship among the neighborhood?
there are various ways to improve the relationship between neighbors, because the neighbors live to each other. Then there are various occasions in every family, so every neighbor should invite other neighbors to their occasions. And not only on their occasions, almost every day every neighbor should communicate with the others, so that they can know the present situation they are in. So if someone need help among the neighbors, others can do that. So it is the most important way to build up a good relationship is to communicate.
Which facilities are most important to people living in cities?
There are various facilities that people need to live in cities. The most of them are have a good housing, because in cities there are very much gathering of people, so housing is very tough to get a good house. So to live someone must have a good house. That is the most basic facilities. And in the house there should be water facilities, electricity facilities. And at last I want to say that nowadays it is a era of technology. Without technology we can even live for a single second. So the internet is a very accessible commodity in today's market. So every town or every people in the town should have access to internet.
What advantages and disadvantages you find living in urban area and rural area?
There are various advantages and disadvantages. If we talk about advantages, then there are various advantages in urban areas, because urban areas is much more developed than urban areas. There are rural areas actually. There are shopping malls where you can find anything you want. There is absolutely everything, almost everything. But in rural areas, if we want to find various goods, then you have to go from different store to different store. As like if we want to buy some vegetables and also buy some clothes, then first you have to go to a vegetable market to buy vegetable, and then you have to go to a shopping mall to buy clothes. But in urban areas you can get everything in one single place. That is the most benefit of living in urban areas. Not only that, in urban areas you can get easy transport, but in rural areas it is very hard to get a transport and travel to other places. If we don't have a personal transport, then we have to wait for a long time for a bus or taxi to come. And if we talk about disadvantages, then we can tell that living in a urban area is much disadvantageous than living in a rural area, because air in the urban area is very much polluted. On the other hand, air in the rural area is fresh, so breathing in the rural area is much more peaceful than breathing in a urban area.
Okay, Mushfiqur Rahman, thank you. That is all about your speaking test today. Mr.
Okay, sir.